Anyway, but as far as like you said, identifying is like our perceptions have changed, right?
Well, just sort of like how like how being who you are personally, how that's helped your perception of the world. Whether you think you have more open perception or not. Whatever.
I definitely like see it a whole lot broader. Like I try not to judge, based on gender, sexuality, whatever. It's just opened my mind because I'm educated on that there are different, there's no binary. And I've been a lot more educated as far as like my sexual identity, like my orientation, as far as that goes, and then as far as like just seeing people for people. And just like I don't think that without, being transgendered and stuff like that, I wouldn't have that. But it's interesting because identify as transgender right now because people need to be educated, and if I feel like if I don't educate people, like because like they'll use the wrong pronoun, and I'm like actually I'm transgendered, I prefer to be referred to as a man, and that way they understand. And it's like, but if I were perceived as a man already, they wouldn't. It's just people just see it in such a binary way, and it's just it's a constant like mind like trouble like with me personally. And I'm sure, everyone else can relate, but it's just a constant, like you're constantly thinking about yourself, the way you look, the way you dress, what you wear, how you walk, everything. But it's definitely like made me a lot more open-minded, so.
Anthropologically speaking, have you looked into anything like the Hijra experience or the various Native American cultures?
I know about the Hijra a little bit, yeah.
Or like the Navajo with the Nadle, which features a part in their creation myth. It's a very important part of their culture as a whole. In fact, transgender ism as a whole features in most cultures, especially most ancient cultures. Modern cultures tend to get a little squicked because they're more putting things in boxes. So at this point, I'm a pack rat, so I have trouble putting things in boxes anyway. So yeah, it's really kind of, the more I've tried to figure out who I was religiously, sexually, gender-wise, everything-wise, it just, it provided a set of questions that I don't think I would have had otherwise. Because if I hadn't been trans, a huge number of questions just never would have occurred to me to ask myself. And so I never would have questioned myself about some very fundamental aspects of reality. And so that's why there, in a lot of cultures, there's a huge religious aspect to being trans. In fact, in the Lakota tribe, for the sun dances, the only person who can put the sacred bundle at the top of a Sundance pole is someone who's trans.
It's like that balance.
Because you have that balance. And they saw this as a cultural important thing. In this culture, not so much. But that's kind of like, as he said, you either get very religious or you don't, you just kind of go to hell with religion. Because you're at this point where all these roads converge onto you, and you actually are at this point where you can decide, well, what the hell roads do I care about? So I think that's kind of an interesting place to be anthropologically.
I want to hear that lady's question.
Go ahead. You ready for a question?
Go ahead.
Hi. So everyone
That's a terrible question.
everyone handles this differently, and I have lots of trans friends, and I think everybody handles it differently. It's like a one-liner. It's more of a redirection thing. So I'm Joe Schmo, and I come to you from ignorant Tennessee, and I say, well, what's your real name? Like, what do you do? Like, I love that question. I know, I love this program.
In the trans community, I've noticed that a lot of people, it goes one or two ways. It's, I'm proud of who I am, I don't care, you can know, whatever. And there are the other ones who hide it and don't want it, because they don't feel like that's a part of them, they don't feel like you need to know that.
No, but I'm from Tennessee. What's your real name?
You already know my real name. But I'm the type of person that I don't feel like you need to know my real name, and that's probably the answer I'm going to give you. Because my real name is Aiden, and a lot of times that's what I'll say if somebody asks me that, what's your real name? Well, last time I checked, it's Aiden J. Weston, or you can call me AJ, I mean, that's short, whatever. But, I have my moments. Like, it depends on if you're ignorant redneck and you're asking me that and you want to start trouble, it's going to be Aiden J. Weston. But if you're actually just kind of curious, I may or may not give it, because this is the reason why, is because I've noticed when I used to do that, me in particular, I would get she all of a sudden. And I would get, and then they would constantly be looking at me. And they'd be like, and they would slip up a sheet. Looking like this, I would be called she, because now they know what's underneath my clothes. And so I just decided that, you know what, it's he. I mean, unless you're just curiosity's sake, it's not, you know, I just don't understand when people ask that, like, why do you need to know that? So that's my own personal thing of giving my birth name, because when they say real name, that just drives me nuts, because my birth certificate right now says Aiden. So, you know what I mean? So it just kind of depends on the mood, I think.
I guess I get it from a different angle. I don't, number one, corporate doesn't want me to, you know, and I don't like to broadcast it saying, I'm James, I'm your waiter, and I'm transgender. But occasionally, like the lady who always thought I was a female, she just said, yes, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, and all this. And I said, what made you think I'm a, you know, and I said, oh, by the way, my name is James. And he goes, oh, crap. I'm so sorry. And then I said, no, that's fine, you know. And so if I've got a time, I don't mind telling someone, yes, I mean, you know, that I'm a female, and they'll say, because they're interested. A lot of people out there do not know what transgender is. They think of drag queens or something like that. They just think of people dressing as the opposite sex to get a sexual feeling, which, you know, that part of it too. But then the people like me, most of these here, are just, you know, this is who we are. You know, it's not just to get a sexual feeling. It's not to get a hard-on or anything like that. It is to, I feel comfortable dressing this way. So when they say, you know, they know my name is James, they say, well, are you planning on changing your name? And I go, yes. And they say, well, what would it be? And I go, my name would be Jamie Ann Fawcett. And they said, oh, okay, well, that's pretty cool. You know, and they said, well, Jamie could be, you know, and I'll say, well, I spell it Jaimee. And they'll think for a minute, go, yeah, that's kind of female. And I said, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's why I had somebody help me choose it. Because, you know, you didn't know, what do you call, you know, what name do I pick for myself? You know, so I don't mind telling people what my name will be when I and I may not be completely transition when I do this, but when I get the money, because you've got to go to the courts here, and then I got to go back to South Carolina to the courts and actually change my whole birth certificate. It takes some money, and I'm a poor waiter, so, you know, it takes a while, but I don't mind telling people what my name will be if they ask. They say, well, what do you plan on changing your name to? And I don't mind telling them that. It's, you know, it's fine with me. I don't care. I don't mind sharing things about myself, you know, with certain people. It doesn't bother me at all.
Joe, Redneck, Tennessee, comes up and asks, it depends on how I feel, actually. Sometimes I take the Eddie Izzard approach when he's talking about how did Engelbert Humperdinck come up with that name. And I go, Engelbert slapped you back, slap Ben Walla. You know, because he had all, how the hell do you come up with Engelbert Humperdinck? Generally, that's where I'm at is, you know, I will tell you something really screwed up, and you won't know if it's the truth or not. You know, maybe I've changed my name to be less irritating. Take my picture. It steals my soul.
Oh, I'm taking that hot guy up there with the beauty.
Okay, that's fine.
Just joking.
You could be a hot girl. We don't know. You haven't told us. Exactly. But if they really bug the crap out of me, I you know, borrow a line from Rent. You know, I'm. Okay, that really helped with my focus here. The line from Rent is, I'm more man than you'll ever be, and more woman than you'll ever get.
Well, I'm told all the time by my mom that she said we named you after Grandpa and all that. I'm like, I know. But I do know the power of the name because when I worked at Kroger, I got ma'am all the time, 100% of the time. And I kept losing my name tag for some odd reason.
I'm sure it wasn't on purpose.
No, not on purpose at all. And when I was on my 5th name tag for the week,
This was damn